Alright, this is the second video more constructed on the subject of what Yeshua has taught me and what I observed about myself within the past couple years since 2016 when I channeled Yeshua, who's actually with me, like sitting with me, like full invocation, which means that he was actually in my mind and like my body, at least the top of it, to help deprogram me. The subjects that I've brought to you are not exactly well organized in the videos. I've realized that. Anyways, this is going to be about the influences on the youth and what we can do about how we live our lives and who we are as people is all based on what you believe. So if you're influenced something through TV or your family and you are becoming helpless and you find yourself in need of help, you have to come back to source. And in the source is yourself and your belief system. And know that you're not alone. So anyways, the false influences and aside from that are abuses that can even come from being influenced. What Yeshua told me is that they use systematic manipulation using lies to influence false belief so that you can act and behave just like the evil people do. And so the evil people of this world, unfortunately, we do have soulless robots that, rule the governments, and we bump into them every day. Like, there's some that are at schools. They're teachers. There's people in power who have no soul. And you start to wonder about the demonic realm, is what Christians call it. It's the evil realm. I'm trying to help people separate the word demon from what you should be calling it, because you've been programmed to call the evil realm by the satanic word demon. That belongs to Satanists, and Satanists are not evil. There are some who are, and shame on you if you are, because we're supposed to be a huge family regardless if you're Christian or not. But they use systematic manipulation through acting. This is why the Illuminati have Hollywood and use a pagan name, because those were the first people that the Greys and reptilians attacked. Back in ancient Babylon, they invented schizophrenia through child abuse and trauma. They will literally, this is what they did. There's evidence of it, that they put kids in dungeons. They made them sex slaves. And what this trauma does is called MK Ultra, mind control. And it puts children into survival mode. And since their brains are not fully developed, they grow up having to struggle and are, they hide all the evidence that they've been raped. Like, people who are condoning these situations and not taking the time to find the victims. In our day and age, you're supposed to go get this child who's been a victim and give them to a doctor so that they can make sure that everything's okay, because nowadays, if you call CPS, you know that somebody's a victim and you have no way to prove it. Why is it that police do not mandatorily order that family to mandatorily take their child to the hospital for a pediatrician to prove if it's happened or not? This is what's wrong with our world. Like, you could call CPS and make all these claims, and the pedophiles being protected by the supreme government, who's supposed to make it mandatory for the victims to go to the doctors for them to appropriately and safely check out this child to make sure that they've been raped or not. So anyways, back onto the subject is that with that system that's been created, and it's underneath your noses, Christian people are being blinded by their pastors, because those pastors, not all of them, but they get to run a church and everything. It's all being funded by the government. You're going to a programming center. That's what churches are. They are brainwashing centers. And this is a horror story. We live in hell. And Yeshua, channeling him, talking to him, he exposed the Hollywood. And I had to put the pieces together myself after he left my channel, is because I got offended. He kept telling me, you can't yell at your kids. Like, I hollered. And I knew I felt like I was ready to detach from him in a respectful way, because he was telling me that, he knew I wasn't safe because I was being hindered by gray aliens. And, you can think what you want, think I'm crazy. That's okay. But I don't have those experiences anymore. But I've taken on shamanism, combined it with satanic priesthood, and also will be combining it in a religion that I will soon introduce to everybody. But back to Hollywood, they stole that name. Hollywood is a pagan name. They stole Satanism back when they burned the witches. And they had professional actors back, we used to have fairs and stuff. People would come out with their talent. There used to be bands, like old pagan bands. We used to have a pagan society, and they took all of our evidence and history and science and spiritual magic science and burned all of that knowledge. They don't even teach you half of the stuff they're supposed to teach you in school, and just let you out not knowing about Tesla, not learning about these scientists that had quantum physics. So anyways, they, back in the ancient Babylonian times, learned these possessed people that Yeshua knew about got into power. He knew about the Talmud. He knew about the churches and the temples. This is the secret they're hiding from you. They keep you blind. You keep going to church because you want Jesus. His real name's Yeshua. Please remember that. Like, that's a false name. Jesus is Jesus, and you're calling a pagan god that you don't even know. And they're keeping you narcissistic. Anyways, so they teach you false behaviors, and humans are not supposed to be hateful. Like, in our nature, we're born innocent. We're not racist. We're not hypersexual, wondering about sex. Kids don't think about that stuff naturally unless they're taught. And that's why they invented technology. These evil leaders used scientists to create technology to invade your home. Like, yeah, we want music. Yeah, we want entertainment to help us to calm down. But who are we dependent off of to get that entertainment? The Illuminati. And what are they doing to kids? Child actors are coming out, exposing them. They're an evil cult of pedophiles that disguise themselves as Satanists. They're not Satanists. And this is heresy. This is evil, that people are kept away from Satan. Like, he's just like the horned god. And they demonized the horned god in the Bible and created this dude in heaven called Lucifer. And Yahweh never existed either. And this is going to give people PTSD like crazy because they don't know the whole truth. Please watch my videos and you will. And We were taken away from our King, who could have gave us a foundation so we could all have a stable belief system and not become crazy and partially schizophrenic because we believe that angels are going to come down from the sky and save us. We have to learn that we have to take accountability of our own actions and be able to forgive ourselves so that we can heal and move past it, period. Because when you become irrelevant, it's like being like time traveling in your mind, and you're stuck in that year or in that day, in that moment of who you could really be. And you're not stupid. You can make a difference. There's, anyways, back onto the subject of acting and how it's affecting our world, is that they are targeting you at birth. They are targeting you and your children. That they, put us in schools that are ran more harshly in like big cities than they are in small towns. There's more communication. I myself live in Spokane, and I grew up here. Unfortunately, the school systems are awful. I had to give my 2 kids back to their father because they were going to a school here, and a teacher walked into the boys' bathroom who was a ed teacher and trying to help a toddler. But, he was exposed to everything. Like, this teacher should have known better. They should have had private bathrooms for those littler kids. He was only like 4 or something. I had to reprogram my child and reassure him that it wasn't his fault. He was traumatized. I was about to sue. What did they all do? Protected the teacher. And I was done. I was, single mom trying to take them to court, and they're like, we can't give out names and everything else. And I was like, oh my God, I whistleblowed, and that was 1.5 years ago. The government are still the ancient Babylonians. They disguise themselves as the Druids to make you hate Satanists, to keep you away from magic. But they don't tell you how to do anything, because they know when people group together, they know the truth, they're going to do something about this. So the pharmaceutical situation and the effect on the child's brain and your own, know that nothing bad happened to you as a child is your fault at all. Don't ever blame yourself for somebody else's bad actions, and learn to forgive yourself. Like, I should have helped. I should have did this. Like, you're not there anymore. Just remember, don't let it happen again. And this is stuff that Satan actually teaches as well. Yes, he's a real entity, but we created him. We created our gods. They're thought forms that are very powerful, and they live inside the planet. And this is magic. This is something that needs to be taught, because you don't deserve to not know about it when you see miracles happen. Anyways, so Satanism for other people is atheism. And Satan does talk about this. He wants you to be reliant off yourself. He does not want you to be doing magic with him all the time. You can if you want, to be a satanic priestess or a priest, but he wants you to be out there making your own money. He wants you to be out there confronting people before you go talk crap about them, And anyways, children who are affected by these evil things, and yourself, is because of what they're pumping out in television. They want you to be gross, just like them. And this is something that Satan will also tell you as well. He is the prince of darkness. And when he was, I conjured him, he brought me to the astral realm in the dark, and he put me in front of my enemies. And he told me to face them so that I could come to them. I had to earn my communication with him. So he put an enemy in front of me. I had to tell them to get out of my way in order to make the next step. It's like a video game, but you have to face You don't get hurt. You get to use your voice and scare those monsters out of your way so that you can stand with Satan and get embraced. So anyways, aside from that, everybody's afraid of Satan because of Hollywood. And why does Hollywood do this? Because they want you to be afraid of him, because he'll give you atheism. He'll even tell you that he's a thought form. He does not have a human body, genitals. He doesn't want you to be hypersexual. He knows that we are prey. He wants you to be a wolf. If you know LaVeyan, I think he's keeping a secret here. He made atheism LaVeyan Satanism, but he did talk to Satan. I believe this. And anyways, I want you guys to know with great love that you have to be protecting your mind. We're going to be getting attacked as human beings from the age of birth because of these parasites in power. They don't care about what that child saw on TV. If you call, the only thing that we can do about it, if we can set aside our differences, come together as a community and as a family, and understand that children are our next generation. Do we want the world to continue like this? With inappropriate touching and nasty cartoons? Like, there's a child that can get healed from a therapist, right? But what happens when you put them back in school and that kid is still there harassing your child? There's something you need to know, is that it's not that other child's fault. They're being taught that from home. And these teachers understand these situations and they should know better. They're supposed to be trained to handle social situations. That if you know, and this is a crime, this is worse than murder, that a child could be violated, sexually harassed. It's not in our human nature to be perverted. Children's brains are not fully developed yet. They're learning it from home, or somebody that's coming into their home, or somebody that's babysitting that child is hurting them. So please, parents, I urge you to teach your children their human rights. If you're a new mother and know your kid's brain is not fully developed, and to be patient with them and be kind as much as possible. That doesn't mean that you cannot have strict, not strict rules, but rules. There shouldn't be spanking until after 5 years old, because, and I've observed this with many parents, and they just throw everybody out there. This is how our system is going, and it's going nowhere because nobody knows the truth, that you are your own God. You're your own human being. You're your own master. And anyways, so they took paganism. They created acting to disguise themselves amongst us because they know how to act like us. The pedophiles do. They're soulless. They have no soul. And this is so crazy to think about. Some people can't wrap their minds around how someone can be soulless. It's not the devil. It's not Satan. It's the parasites. And it's real. And the only way to protect yourself is to not agree with them, because they want your belief system. Because if you open your heart and your mind to them, they're gonna come in. So it's like you have an idol, right? Like, say, Adam Sandler. And he's so cool, man. He comes to Spokane. Watch his videos a little bit, some of the jokes that they make. Like, talking about slurring and making jokes about pedophilia. And Will Ferrell, like, what's that movie, Step Brothers, those kids that sit at the table while they're having sex in the hallway. What is that? That's not legal. That's child abuse. Why are there kids at the table while his brother is doing that? Those are pedophiles. Why hasn't anybody stood up yet? This is the country I live in. This is the world I live in, where this is okay. They get a little pat on the wrist, and then they get let out. Pedophiles get let out. Why are they not publicly humiliated like back in the medieval days, which we should definitely bring back, and then kill them? You want to try to fix a pedophile with therapy? You're going to give that pedophile more compassion than the child that was hurt. That's worse than murder, because what's happening in that child's mind after he's raped or she's raped? They have to live the rest of their lives having no trust, being afraid of everywhere they go. And the government we have now is making it to where this is a domesticated prison, because there's a pedophile on every block that only served 20 years in prison. I want a new president. I want a new king. You know why? Our kids deserve that. Our world deserves that. Don't become dependent off TV. You don't have to be like everybody else. Be good enough for yourself. Love yourself. Your family comes first. Your body is a temple, and you are your own God. You are your own goddess. That is what they do not want you to know. Your body is the temple of God. That's why they hint it in the Bible. The power of God is inside you. It's you. It's you. You see something, you say something, you can make a difference. Hail Satan, everybody. You guys have a wonderful day. Do not be hypochondriacs, because they're poisoning you. They want you to lose your minds so that you lose your soul and become an empty body for them to take. They want you to hurt your kids. They want you to slip and hate yourself and fall to your knees to a false god. They don't want you to know how wonderful you can be if you learn to forgive yourself. Because we come into this world and we're abused mentally and spiritually since day one, and you don't even realize it. Don't ever sing those songs. I'm not worthy for the lamb. The lamb, they're animalizing you. You got to think for yourself. Scientific fact. Hurting. Learn about it. Educate yourselves. You're not stupid, and you're not alone. Thank you for watching, and everybody have a wonderful day. They're poisoning us in the water, in our food, and in our influences. Do not believe them. Do not follow the ways of the world. Yeshua was a real person. He was a spiritual atheist, and he loves you. Be good to yourselves.